Hello and welcome to The Big Picture. The Central Bureau of Investigation, the investigating body under the center, is in the throes of a crisis. Not too far back, it was the Supreme Court which made all the sympathetic noises about the CBI and how its director is like a parrot in a gilded cage. The debate ever since the Lokpal issue took the center stage was about how to make CBI autonomous. The director of the CBI, Ranjit Sinha, had even taken on the government when one of the coal scam files was apparently summoned by then Minister Ashwini Kumar. Singh had disclosed this to the apex court and the minister lost his job. Now the same CBI director finds himself in a situation which no one in his shoes would like to be in. The apex court has directed him to recuse himself from the 2G case. This was after revelations of the diary of visitors to his official residence, with the chief of CBI himself virtually indicted by the apex court. The organization itself faces a serious credibility crisis. It also puts a question mark over the demand for more autonomy to the CBI. It also raises questions about the entire appointment process to this crucial post, apart from the fairness of investigations. We will discuss all this today with PC Sharma, former Director CBI, AN Tiwari, former Secretary DoPT, KN Bhat, Senior Advocate Supreme Court and former Additional Solicitor General of India, and Saikat Datta, Editor National Security at the Hindustan Times. Welcome to all of you. Mr. Sharma, do you think this is the lowest the CBI has seen so far? The Supreme Court virtually telling the director of the CBI that you can't be trusted.
Yes, it's the lowest. I can say with authority in the sense that I spent perhaps the maximum time in this organization and never such a severe indictment was made against the CBI. It's most unfortunate. It pains me to know all this thing because I almost identified myself with this organization. And when one hears a direct blow, a body blow to the credibility of the CBI, one feels hurt.
So now you think that he has only 10 days left before he retires.
Yeah.
You think he should retire honorably?
Well, it's his personal decision whether he retires honorably and whether it's going to be honorably. This is, there are two options. Either he takes his own decision or the government takes a decision. There's no other way.
Mr. Tiwari, you think the government should take a decision?
They should, because what he has done clearly comes in the realm of misconduct. It is official misconduct, it is a misconduct of a civil servant. But more than that, I would like to believe that this is also criminal conduct.
Criminal misconduct?
Criminal misconduct.
Criminal conduct?
Yes, criminal conduct. In the sense that he has absolutely, in the view of the Supreme Court, interfered with the progressive justice. Criminal justice system has been tampered with. Now, what can be worse than this? There has to be something more telling than what so far has happened. And the government must make an example of him.
Mr. Bhat, would you also agree with Mr. Sharma and Tiwari on this?
I don't know whether it will be easy for you to find someone who doesn't agree. Because it's a very difficult not to agree with whatever has been stated. Because this is one of the unprecedented things. And, Supreme Court itself, going back to 1997, 1998, in Vineet Narayan's case, Supreme Court has made its effort to make CBI an autonomous and a dependable body. And 2 years tenure was given, which was not in the statute.
Absolutely.
And incidentally, Mr. Sharma was the first recipient of that one.
Right.
And subsequently, it has been doing fairly well. I wouldn't say that very well. But today is a situation. He has got a guaranteed tenure, but as Mr. Tiwari said, nobody can prevent a show cause notice being issued now. So even if he retires on 2nd of December, disciplinary proceedings and all can proceed further because it is a very unfortunate thing to happen to a CBI director.
Okay, Mr. Sharma, there was this whole talk of autonomy now comes under a cloud, because here is a man who apparently enjoyed quite a bit of autonomy as far as many of these key cases which they were being investigated directly under the supervision of the Supreme Court. Even a minister had to lose his job when they tried to interfere. So here was a director who had quite a lot of autonomy. I don't know whether you enjoyed as much autonomy as he did.
No, I tell you, I have been personally very much against this so-called autonomy. In the field of investigations, the law, the Criminal Procedure Code gives you enough autonomy, enough independence to do your investigation according to the law. And if you have autonomy and plus this kind of conduct, then God save you.
Absolutely. Saikat, how do you look at this? You know, here is a case, here is a 2G case. This man was completely in charge of it. And then if this diary had not come out, if this visitor's diary of his had not come out, all these things would not have happened, would not have come out at all.
Absolutely. And in fact, I don't think the argument is an issue of autonomy or no autonomy.
Yes.
To me, it's a structural issue. And the structural problem with the CBI, which many of them have felt for a long time, and they've tried to use autonomy as a way to address that, is the lack of transparency in the organization. And the more opaque the organization kept becoming, the more chances of manipulation. You see, whether you are autonomous or not, if you are not autonomous, the government has a direct role in manipulating you for its political needs. But if you become autonomous, then the government, through other means, can still manipulate with an understanding with the CBI director that if you do these things, we will give you certain other benefits, quid pro quo. But none of that can happen if you have absolute transparency in the organization.
No, but when you say opaque, when you say that the CBI is opaque, why do you say so?
I'll give you a structural issue again. What was the rationale of the earlier government to take out an organization like the CBI out of the RTI Act? Moment you do that, all your case diaries, which is the bulk of your investigation, your directorate of prosecution, so on and so forth, they completely become opaque. And therefore, none of us, like today, it had to wait for somebody to leak the visitor's diary.
Right.
If there was a threat that this can be given under a statute or a law, then probably you would not have this kind of a free, unfettered manipulation by the CBI director.
Unfettered entry and exit of all kinds of people to a CBI director.
And look at the explanations that the CBI director tried to give, that all kinds of people come and meet me. If that was the case, then every criminal should have a right to go and meet the CBI director.
Mr. Sharma? This was an amazing explanation that, all kinds of people come and meet. Sometimes I get a better understanding when the accused comes and meets me.
It's amazing, but let me also tell you one thing. There was no such system earlier maintaining a register of entry and exit.
So people used to come and go, nobody knew.
No. There was no question of anybody visiting the director's house. You come
I'm sure it is as sacrosanct as the Supreme Court Chief Justice of India's house. I don't think anybody can walk into Chief Justice's house.
The only persons who can visit you are your family members or your friends.
But his explanation is that I had to meet thieves to catch thieves.
Catch thieves. Mr. Sharma,
very ingenious.
Why did this whole process of luckily this whole diary thing has resulted in all this. So when did this keeping of the diary started?
It must have started with him only.
Acha.
Yeah.
So you are not aware of it?
No, I was not aware of it. They don't need to maintain a diary like this because you are not supposed to meet the persons under investigation at your residence.
No, with the diary also hangs a tale. There were two diaries really. One diary which Sinha kept through his own officers, in which only the names of the select few was written. But unknown to him, another diary was maintained by the CRPF, the policemen placed it there. So they wrote down everybody's name innocently. And that innocence of that man cost him all this.
No, but sir, coming back to what he's talking about, the opacity of the CBI. You have been in the DoPT, you have dealt with the CBI. You think at the government's level, has there been any discussion on this, RTI? Why do you think the RTI was removed?
Actually, let's look at it this way. The CBI, under some of his directors, has been able to flaunt his power and cow down the politician almost completely. That's the reason you find this kind of aberrations like RTI being, CBI being taken out of the RTI. There is no apparent reason. No policeman is out of it. The anti-corruption bureaus are not out of it. Why should CBI alone be identified to go out of it? Because the politician wanted it that way and he had the power to do it and he did it.
Mr. Sharma, one second. Mr. Sharma, you think, what do you think? You have been there, you have been in the hot seat. Under RTI, if CBI comes under RTI, is there going to be any effect on the investigations on how the
yes
case
or no? You see, the main thing that can be disclosed under RTI is the case diary, because that is the gist of the investigation. Till a case comes to its conclusion, case diary changes, because new facts come, you write new case diaries. If you ask for a case diary today, these contents may not be the same after a few days. So if you ask for a case diary today under RTI, you might form a wrong impression. You may ask after the investigation is concluded.
Right.
Not during the course of the investigation.
But if you go look at the RTI Act, sir, Section 8(1)H specifically prohibits anybody from sharing information which is under investigation. So that provision
that should take care of
there
this.
in the law.
That should take care of it. So you think that once this investigation is complete, there should be no reason why it should be kept secret?
Why should there be? Because
the charge sheet will have all the details of the investigation.
Charge sheet will have all the details. When you submit the charge sheet to the court, all the details are there. Court has the power to peruse your case diaries.
Right.
What is the problem with anybody who's...
Mr. Bhat, my question is one, of course, you can react to what they were saying. Also, other thing is about this whole question of autonomy. You know, we had this huge, in 2011, the Anna movement, Lokpal saying autonomy for the CBI. You think that has taken a hit now?
You see, now Mr. Sinha represents the last person to have been selected under the old regime.
Right.
Okay, already the new set of selection panel has come into force. And so much so, there is no leader of the opposition now. Therefore, probably there is no impossible to select anyone now. That's a different thing. But what I was telling was that RTI may be there, but you don't require a running commentary on the investigation. Because it is something, there was some amount of privacy has to be maintained, and that I suppose even RTI doesn't expect you to give all those things information. But in the case of Mr. Sinha, he was probably totally, impervious to the whole set of situations which are around him, because two sets of diaries and two sets of people coming, and it was more than a guest house or something where people used to come and go. And I remember the only time, in spite of being fairly close to Mr. P.C. Sharma, I never visited him on a private, on probably some wedding or something I visited there, that's all. There is no other time. So Mr. Sinha has brought about a situation which will be a warning for the rest of the generation of CBI directors to come.
Okay, but you know, what about this whole issue of autonomy?
Autonomy is, you see, ultimately, whatever may be the system, finally it comes to the individual. Whether it is the Chief Justice of India, whether it is the Director of CBI, I mean, we don't have to give any names, but there are, we are now so far, I think, about 40 odd Chief Justices from the independent India. How many do you remember? And for good reasons and bad reasons. That's the reason why I said, look, ultimately, no system can guarantee a foolproof autonomy. And it is the individual, and it is here the selection machinery or the people involved in selection have to be a little more careful to find out not just the career of a person on record, even off the record, how it has been and all those things. And if you inquire into it, it is not difficult.
I'm sure it's not difficult with all that they have in their, Mr. Tiwari, about the autonomy situation.
Actually, it is like this. Autonomy, according to me...
Because we have discussed, you have been here on this panel, we have discussed autonomy before.
You cannot think about autonomy without accountability. And accountability has two aspects: answerability and enforcement of that answerability. My question is, who is enforcing accountability on the CBI?
Correct.
CBI has got two wings, largely, broadly separated. This anti-corruption and the balance.
Right.
Now, anti-corruption is supposed to be under the superintendence of the CVC. ask any CVC what superintendency he exercises on the CBI. Now, that superintendence clause of the Act, which gives to the CVC the power of control and superintendence, has a proviso which says that superintendent ends with investigation and prosecution. And all these maladies are only in investigation and prosecution.
Right, absolutely.
Now, I asked some of the people as to what superintendence you exercise on them. You know what is this? They hold once in a month meeting with the CBI director in which they go through the whole gamut of their cases, see what is going on slow, what is not going on slow, and give broad guidelines. Nobody looks into investigation and prosecution because that is not the CVC's remit. And that is where autonomy issues arise. That is where, as Mr. Sharma was saying, that is where they are functionally, professionally autonomous.
They already are functionally autonomous.
Absolutely.
They are.
That is where they are not answerable to anyone. So what autonomy they are asking for?
So in fact, Mr. Sharma, then if what Mr. Tiwari is saying and you're also agreeing with it, that means that there needs to be more superintendents on the working of the CBI now.
Let me say something
Yes.
more. CBI doesn't answer the government because it says we answer the CVC. Government does not know what to ask CBI because they know very little about their functioning. Now, today is the time.
You are saying this as a former secretary
Absolutely,
of the DoPT.
sir. I'm telling you this. I was really the housekeeper for the CBI. I was answering questions of Parliament on their behalf. I was attending the Select Committee of Parliament on their behalf. And I never had an occasion to have a discussion about a single case with the Director CBI. I was also in charge of providing personnel to them.
Right.
So CBI sent its own wish list. And it was my job to go around the country and find willing people to come there. That is what I was doing. And I was faulted for not doing it well enough because the IPS officer were not generally inclined to come to Delhi or to CBI. So it was not possible to find all of them. They're not queuing up to join. But my point is this. It is not an issue about one man. The issue is about the organization. Can we say that there is something rotten in the state of Denmark? Is it a professional outfit which is doing his work? I give two examples. First, look at the website of the CBI. You have got a statement saying that 67% of their cases succeed in prosecution. Now, this 67% is taken out from the preliminary inquiries which they conduct. But before the preliminary inquiries, there are a massive number of investigations in which he has all the power to decide whom to bring to preliminary inquiry level, whom not to bring, and what not to do about anyone.
And there is no record of that.
There are massive number of people whose houses have been raided, who have been harassed, summoned to CBI, and no preliminary inquiries have been filed. These are honest people.
I would disagree here. No house is searched, no person is summoned before a preliminary inquiry is launched. In fact, the powers of the CBI or any investigating officer...
You're talking of an ideal situation?
No, I'm talking legal situation. I'm talking about the legal situation. No officer, whether he's in the Thana or in the CBI, has the power to search, arrest, summon. These things start only when the case is registered. No person is searched, no records are summoned.
But Mr. Tiwari, I'm sure Tiwari must be having some information for having said that.
Experience, and I'm telling you the legal position.
My point is that investigations they conduct and the percentage which was brought to the preliminary inquiry level, there is a vast gap. And the percentage which the world is made to know about their success is against the preliminary inquiries only. Set it off against the investigations, and that percentage drops to 30%. That's 35%. And that is the success rate of CBI. Now, with that success rate, when you are investigating so many people, that means about 70% of the people are those who are innocent.
Mr. Bhat, would you like to react to that?
No.
Yeah, I can just give one example. I hope you don't mind my mentioning a name.
Of course, there is no problem.
Dr. V. Krishnamurthy.
Right.
Former chairman of Maruti, etc.,
yeah.
decorated with Padma Vibhushan, and then so and so was for 10 years under CBI's investigation, and he was a socially outcast.
Right.
And at the end of it, after alleging that 3,000 crores or something has been amassed by him, etc., not a dollar or a rupee was found in excess at the end of it. It is, I don't know whether it is systemic failure or individual failure, but instances happen. That's, I don't know whether, because as in the judiciary, innocent people are hanged sometimes. Sometimes if that is the situation. But since CBI doesn't have its own cadre, people from all the other police people, they are being brought here for a limited period. And therefore, it is no better than the police generally, but with a better system. That much I can tell you, having appeared for CBI and for sometimes being their lawyer and all those things. It is, of all the police setup in India, CBI is perhaps the best. But even there, the but is, if the head of the institute is not good, it can be very bad. That's all I can say.
Saikat, the point which Mr. Tiwari was making. On the one hand, there is demand for more autonomy, and on the other hand, he says that they already have so much autonomy that, and they have no, actually there is no superintendence or control over them.
Actually, as I said earlier, Mr. Tiwari is partly correct, but technically, again, Mr. Sharma, as he pointed out that no raids, etc., happened before the preliminary inquiry, etc., that is also correct. But as I keep saying, this is not an issue so much of autonomy or lack of it.
It is a structural problem.
It is a structural problem. Now, let's look at what has happened in the coal case and the 2G case. In both occasions, the Supreme Court had to come down heavily on the CBI and said, why are you removing one officer who's pursuing that case? Now, that seems to be getting lost. The point is that at the cutting edge level of the investigation, if you can ensure that the person who is investigating the case lawfully, he or she is not removed, and at the same time, whatever they put down in the case diary, etc., cannot be manipulated at all. If you can structurally fix that bit, then it becomes very difficult to play around with the CBI or the quality of its investigation.
Do you agree? How do you ensure that? Is it again, as Mr. Bhat says, it's a problem of the individual, or is
problem?
Or do you agree with him that there is a structural problem?
I fully agree with Mr. Bhat. He has made a very significant point. It is man at the top, whether you have an autonomous body or you have a body legally structured. If the man at the top is not doing his job as per the legal norms, things can go haywire.
But what about what Saikat is saying is about the structural problem of the CBI?
But there's no structural problem in the CBI.
Can I interfere?
Yes, Mr.
One second, continuing from where Mr. Sharma left. Individual at the top, ultimately Mr. Krishnamurthy got relief because one gentleman by the name Mr. Mishra, Trinamool Mishra, I think, he became the CBI head. And he personally looked into it and cross-examined and finished that, what are you doing? And it is the CBI director who gave the relief. There is no question.
So there are both kinds of all kinds of people. But the structural things which he talks about, like in the 2G case or in the coal case, when you are removing. But again, is it the CBI director's prerogative who we should put where to investigate what?
CBI director does have the power to shift an officer from one branch to another. But when an important investigation is going on, this is not done. This is not done. And when there are no allegations against the officer who's doing the investigation and he is being properly supervised, then it's not done. What is the distinguishing feature of CBI? CBI's distinguishing feature is, which sets it apart from the police other Thana investigation, is a very stiff dose of supervision.
Right.
If your supervision is being exercised properly, then no such things can happen. So,
but if the man at the top himself is.
Exactly.
That is what has happened here.
Whether he's heading the CBI or he's heading a branch, if the man at the head of the unit is a small unit at branch level, or it's the unit at the CBI level, if the man at the top is not doing his job properly, then things will certainly go out of control. Otherwise, there's no problem. Law gives you a very stiff rule that you had to perform your job in this manner.
Mr. Tiwari, let's get back to the question, the original question. How do you regain the credibility? Now this man is going, either the government will make him go, or he himself may go, or he'll just wait to retire,
or
whatever.
Calendar will take him.
Calendar will take care of it.
It is first.
No, the question is, the new the new CBI director will be appointed under the new scheme of things, where the Prime Minister will be heading that committee, where the Chief Justice of India, the leader of opposition, or the single largest party, whatever. You think that this can bring about certain amount of balance to the whole thing?
Regardless of what selection process you have, there is always a chance that you will commit an error and put the wrong man there. It can always happen. The proper strength of an organization lies in the fact that one man's presence here doesn't alter his total working. And that is a professional organization like FBI. It may be surely manipulated a bit by Edgar Hoovers of the world, but it works as a professional outfit.
Right.
Now, today the question is CBI working as a professional outfit? If we start separating person from the organization, then we shall not be asking the questions which are relevant for the CBI. We should therefore ask searching questions. For example, CBI has the system of having, they have got zonal officers, joint directors are there. All the cases in their jurisdiction are taken care of by that joint director. But certain cases which are supposed to be high-profile cases are selected by the director, and they are taken care of centrally. Now, the question should be asked, why should that happen?
Why should it happen, Mr. Sharma?
You see, there are zonal branches, then we have our central branches.
Right.
All the important cases, having national importance, having international importance, having complicated character, are assigned to the central branches. Because
which you think is the right thing to do?
It is the right thing to do. There's nothing wrong with it.
Mr. Tiwari has a problem with it.
I have a problem because most often the profile of the case decides whether it is an important case to be handled by CBI, a central branch. And most problems which you are now noticing are related to central branch. It is not happening in the zonal branches. Because they are professional
It is happening in elsewhere.
Maybe it is not getting the kind of
but there is a definite purpose behind it, creating these branches. There are field branches, there are zonal branches, there are central branches.
Right.
Central branches have a very important role to play. And idea was that important cases should be supervised closely, should be investigated
at
more
the top level.
I have two more points to make.
Yes, sir, one second. Let me get Saikat. I'll come back to you very quickly. Saikat, would you agree with what they're saying, that the zonal and the central level thing? You think the way it is being functioning now is the right way to function?
See, there is no data to really establish that. And unless you have a database study on that, impressionistic assumptions will never work.
Yes, Mr.
No, the point is, the CBI Act now needs an amendment, CBC Act. The superintendence and the control of the CBC for anti-corruption cases must be total. He should be able to interact with the Directorate of Prosecution
on case-to-case basis?
Case-to-case basis, and ask questions about why delays have happened, why you're filing...
Do you think it's a practical thing?
What the Supreme Court...
Is it practical?
Absolutely, it is practical. They are doing it in some way, but not so thoroughly. Now, the courts are telling CBI, why are you closing the case? And
that job should be done by the CBC. Yes, Mr. Bhat, would you agree with that?
Absolutely, because the CBC today, its role is only in the books. They are certainly not, as Mr. Tiwari said, it is not for the court to say that before closing the court, to go and say that, look, no, we can't close it. Somebody must examine it. It's not just, an agency.
So Supreme Court has now become some kind of a superintendent over the CBI.
That is not only on one field. Supreme Court, fortunately or unfortunately, is in every field, because there is not the question about it.
No, but Mr. Bhat, we are running out of time. Sorry, very quickly, you think this new selection process should improve the quality of people who are going to be put there in that post?
The selection process, it's a number one, you have to prepare a dish out of the available vegetable. You can't do anything, because you have to select from among the IPS officers.
Right.
The selection panel being what it is now, fairly assured that there won't be a motivated selection.
Okay.
That will be on merit.
Okay.
But then merit is from what you select.
Absolutely, from what Mr. Sharma, you think the new selection process is a good idea? I mean, it will be able to, because you were selected under the old.
I have my view. There's nothing with the panel. There was nothing wrong with the earlier panel.
Right.
It's the person whom you choose.
Okay, sir. I think we are completely
Nothing
run
wrong
out of
with
time.
the panel.
Sorry, we're running.
You can still make a wrong choice even within
Absolutely. So we completely run out of time. Sorry, but this is as all my panelists said, that this is one of the lowest which the CBI has seen in its entire existence. Hopefully, the new selection process, the new person who is going to be selected as the director will be able to hopefully restore some credibility which seems to have been lost by the CBI by what the court has said to its director yesterday. Thanks to all my guests, Mr. K.N. Bhat, A.N. Tiwari, P.C. Sharma and Saikat Datta. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture same time on Monday. Meanwhile, have a great weekend.